everybody, is called Beehive, and the idea was to build a bedroom computer. And we're calling it a bedroom computer because essentially it would have a web interface to allow you to do a lot more than just your basic alarm clock, but the very core functionality of it is a color changing sunrise simulator that will integrate with your sleep cycle. So you could put your iPhone or your Fitbit on your pillow. I don't know if anybody uses those applications already where it tracks your sleep cycle and it will wake you up when you are at the most awake point to help make you feel refreshed. Well, this goes a step further by allowing you to start your day with a sunrise that will slowly wake you up with the light, the ambient light that comes from it, and different colors and shades of your choosing, so that it slowly brings you out of your peaceful sleep into a little bit gentler awake instead of just the blaring alarm clock that just hits you with the buzzer every morning. So the idea though would be going eventually, we were trying to get just the artificial sunrise with LEDs. So we were using LED strip lights with pulse width modulation to be able to control the different colors and mix them. We had a lot of challenges around using Raspberry Pi, which we didn't foresee, so it took most of the time and we still didn't even get it working, so we ended up defaulting to Arduino to make that work, and then by the time we did that it was kind of late. So it works, but I couldn't get it hooked up and actually contained in the container in time when we moved everything. The Raspberry Pi there is running a web server, which Tim can talk about. So you have your computer rebooted?
Yes, it had to check disks, so it's still booting up. I can talk about it while it does that.
Yeah, I'll talk just in general. The idea was that because this is more than just a simple alarm clock, you could put this on your network and then do a lot more than just wake you up. So it's already going to know when you wake up and go to sleep, because you're using it as your alarm clock. But you can actually use that, for instance, to connect to your Internet of Things API. So we were thinking about integrating with SmartThings, which is Internet of Things API. There's other Internet of Things API. So that basically would say, hey, I'm up in the morning, turn on my lights, start my coffee maker, if it's Z-Wave enabled, unlock my doors, whatever you want it to do there. Or at night, you could use it so if it knows that you're going to sleep, it would say, turn off my lights, lock my door, turn on my security system, go through a normal bedtime routine. So ideally, the web server would allow you to go in and say, I want to customize the functionality, and I also want to extend the functionality of it by adding in applications or plugins, if you will, from other developer parties. We obviously couldn't get that far in 24 hours, so really we were just trying to get the hardware built. So we built the hardware from laser cut wood, rapid prototypes, the actual bezel, and then laser cut the two-way acrylic. There's an LCD display behind there, which we've had working intermittently. We actually were using that as a dev console for a while. It's only 3.5 inches, so it's really tiny. And then the top of it is actually from a lamp post. It's an 8-inch white acrylic lamp globe that was cut to fit everything together. So it's pretty much just as easily assembled as long as you can get all the wires in it.
Which street is missing a lamp globe right now?
So that was the challenge for us, was trying to not only do the hardware. It was quite a bit of a challenge to tackle the software, the electronics, everything too. But Tim and Chase did a lot of great work on the web server. It's based on Django. Tim, you ready to talk about it?
Yes. I don't know if that just have a straight HDMI.
Does it?
No, it's VGA.
Like for it, or,
Oh, you can take the back adapter off.
Yeah, but
That's
do we
just
have?
VGA.
Yeah, I only have HDMI on this.
Yeah, that's the problem I usually have when I try
Is
to
it
do
local to your machine?
I can broadcast it on my IP address. I mean, like anyone could access it.
I could pull it up on my.
Cool.
Yeah, you can use plug a computer.
yeah, that'd be great. Thank you for doing that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, we do need a projector. Donations welcome.
I don't know, like, so the web interface allows you to select which color theme you would want for waking up and also going to sleep. And we also, I don't know, I was kind of proud of this part. Through the web interface, it can play music through the actual server hardware. So
Would you have a speaker on there and it would?
Yeah.
I had put together a little speaker because I actually have an amplifier that I built. We hooked it up and tested it. The audio was working through the speaker, but it was challenging to get everything integrated together with so many different pieces and components.
Yeah, and then the sound wasn't working right on the Raspberry Pi.
On the Raspberry Pi, yeah, we had trouble. We could get it on an external computer through the web server, but we couldn't get it
16, 17,
on the Raspberry Pi locally for some reason.
89, port 8000.
So that was the challenge.
Which Wi-Fi network are you
Collab,
Workspace?
No.
on? Workspace?
Collab
Yeah.
Workspace and Workspace. So what were you saying about the speakers, Josh? You were saying, I missed.
I was trying to hook up just the mono speaker, but because I was just trying to show that we actually had the audio working, I did plug in the audio. We had a little chip amplifier for 3 watts so that we could power the speakers. And the idea was that you would use that for white noise at night or like playing music. You could stream music, things like that. So we put on some music onto the web server that could be played. It would play through the browser, but we couldn't get it playing through the Raspberry Pi hardware.
Right. But like if you if you scroll down, go to a control panel there. It's messing up the width, but I don't know. For example, these would be 3 different color schemes options for the pulse width modulation. So like tropical, rainy day, and city or something. If you scroll down a little more, if you hit that test audio button, and then it should start playing on. That's on my computer. Yeah.
That song?
You don't know that's gonna wake you up.
Peaceful.
But
Yes.
White noise.
Yeah.
Did you guys do research to what was the mildest or best, healthiest way to wake up?
Well, there's been a lot of studies that have shown that, if you wake up within the highest point in your 90-minute sleep cycle, that you're more likely to be less tired, more awake. It's based on, right now, a lot of the things that monitor it, for the simplistic versions, will do motion. So they just monitor with the accelerometer in your phone, or if you have like a Fitbit, the personal health monitors, the Fitbit 1, it's got an accelerometer and it's got a Bluetooth connection to your phone, so it reports all this data to your phone, right? So during the day and at night. So when you're sleeping, it can sense when you're in your deepest sleep points and when you're most awake, and then actually will track and give you a graph. So the problem with those is that when you have it on your phone, like if you just get the phone app, for instance, the simplest case, you put it under your pillow, the phone will vibrate or like set an alarm that will wake you up as you get to your more awake points. But you have to give it a 30-minute window, and it's going to do its best, but it doesn't, because you have to wake up within that 30-minute window, doesn't guarantee that you're actually going to wake at the point that you feel the most rested. So my thought was, well, you're going to start seeing your sleep cycle go like this, but if you start using artificial sunrise, basically, to be able to simulate dawn, it would more naturally pull you out of that sleep cycle instead of having to just do it during alarm, even with the applications.
In the next version, they're going to have a hand pops out and slap.
Punching button.
yeah, a boot that kicks me out of bed, or a cat that jumps on my face. That usually works.
Bucket of cold water.
There was a study published last week, the timing of your project is kind of funny with this, that says that basically the blue light kind of suppresses melatonin production.
Yeah. Yeah, basically blue light in the morning makes you feel more awake and alert. So ideally, you could change it so that this would give off more blue light in the morning, and then at the evening when you're going to sleep. I mean, none of the alarms I've ever seen really do this, where you're winding down for your day and you want to just get in bed and you want your lights to naturally dim, because you're dealing with artificial light all day. It really changes the melatonin levels, from what I understand. So at night it would dim and allow you to go more to sleep more naturally, because you just let it dim out with some red lighting so you can still see, but that lack of blue would help. And then in the morning you just reverse it, you add more blue light. So you could customize. The idea was that you could customize your sleep routine however you want it. By day, Tim had it set so that you could actually do a profile like Monday through Friday. You could do a specific cycle of like, hey, I want to wake up at the same time every day with this specific lighting condition, for these conditions in ambient, and then Saturday and Sunday you can change it. So the idea, if you had a computer, that becomes super easy to program exactly how you want it. And then over time, we couldn't obviously build this for today in 24 hours, but it would monitor when you typically wake up, like in the routine, and it would get better at being able to predict what things are going to be helping you to wake up better. Any other questions?
Well, you're talking about the controlling the PWM with the lighting, so the different lighting modes you have there,
Yeah.
that's just different blends of the lights that
yeah.
are in your light strip. And
Right, yeah, so we just have these RGB, so it's red, green, blue LED lights, and we had a simple amplifier for it, because I didn't want to build a custom circuit. I had a couple of emitters, but I just thought it would be easier to use an off-the-shelf solution. So basically it's a little puck, and then you put in 3 different signals into that puck from your Raspberry Pi, or from, we were using Arduino in the end. But so, and basically depending on how many signals per second you're sending it, it will control the brightness. So that's how you mix the colors. So it's just like if you're used to dealing with, I don't know, Microsoft Paint. Like when you go in Microsoft Paint and you want to change the color, and it will give you a numerical indication of the mix of the specific red, green, blue values in that color. It's doing the same thing, it's just with...
You're just doing PWM for RGB separately?
Yeah, unfortunately Raspberry Pi for PWM is really difficult.
Yeah, Pi is not good for,
We
there's some
tried.
things it's good for, it's not good
Right,
for
right,
controlling
right,
stuff like
right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure it doesn't help that we were just starting to get introduced to Raspberry Pi with PWM yesterday. And
Yeah.
then,
Especially like at 3 in the morning. So.
yeah, and then by the time we hit, I think, I don't know, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
this morning, we were like, okay, we've given up.
I think you were sleeping. So.
I think it was.
Okay.
I got an hour, they got none, so they've got that on me.
Yeah, we had a lot of big plans when we first started out. Like we had the web server actually running on the Raspberry Pi. So if you've ever used like a Chromecast, it kind of broadcasts a signal. We wanted it to be really easy to connect to that. So it's also acting as a Wi-Fi hotspot. So it kind of extends the Wi-Fi in your room. So you can log in, or I guess discover your lamp or your beehive. And then it would extend your Wi-Fi, and then right there you'd be able to go on the web server that's running on there, and you'd be able to control everything like the music and the lights and stuff.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's too many ideas.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things we could do, but the hardware I think was the most challenging, and that's where
Yeah.
I didn't quite get it.
For your 1 hour of sleep, did you do any alpha testing of the?
No, unfortunately, it was still in multiple pieces. Would have been nice, because maybe I would have felt a little less tired, although I don't know how much I can help if we get an hour of sleep.
I feel like it almost came together, no matter how many pieces there are on all the things.
Yeah.
Just kick it.
The one thing that I didn't really plan effectively is I was envisioning it to be small enough to be not too much bigger than an alarm clock. So I figured 8 inches would be enough. But by the time you added all the equipment and the wires that we were using, that quickly exceeded the capacity of volume. So in a production version, we'd obviously be able to do a lot more to miniaturize the electronics. We were just kind of dealing with the time constraint.
Prototypes
Awesome.
tend to be big.
That's beautiful too.
Yeah, it's
I like
really
it.
good
That's
design,
gorgeous.
Beautiful
Um,
design.
I'm gonna buy one
Yeah.
without the slapper.
Was your concept like, for the design, what was like your concept? Was it from the beehive idea, or how did you come up with that?
That was actually coincidence, funny
Okay.
enough. I just happened to have this domain name called beehive.com. But originally, like, I had the concept, I started thinking about it a few months ago and thought about it, and I was thinking, you know, if I just took one of these white plastic lamp globes, I wonder if I could make something with it. This was not too long after the Philips Hue has been around. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. It's a light bulb you can plug in anywhere, and you can control it on your smartphone to be able to change the color, and it can, you can actually install apps on your application in your phone to be able to like say, hey, change color when the music's going, so that it creates like a dance party theme. So Philips has been out with this solution for about a year, and then I thought, well, wouldn't it be cooler to have something that was a little bit more open source, something that had a little more functionality. And that's where this kind of came from. So envisioning it in the white plastic globe, I was just thinking, what do I need to do to make it not look like a pure white plastic globe? So that's where I just kind of came up with the design because I realized that they had a laser cutter, and I thought, wow, that'd be perfect. I can make a whole laser cut.
Is it a computer screen that's the display behind the glass there? Plastic?
Yeah, there is a 3.5
You said you had your
display.
dev environment running on it?
Yeah, Tim was actually using it for a while. He's pretty hardcore with doing that. It's actually only this big, so you can see the LCD module plugs into your Raspberry Pi through the component connection.
That's
Sweet.
Yeah, and Tim actually had one part that we couldn't show because of that, but it's running a screensaver basically. or a
Yeah,
web
we,
page.
I don't know, we had a lot of things working at different points, but a lot of them couldn't come together at the same time.
Yeah, so it was just a clock face. It was just a
Yeah, so we essentially started like an X session on the Raspberry Pi and
So that's
opened a
just
full
basically
screen.
a GUI,
Yeah,
right?
opened a
That's
full
good.
screen Chrome window and displayed a just
Displayed a clock.
a clock application in
Yeah,
the browser.
and I think
And it worked pretty well.
yeah.
It worked really well. That was Chase did got that up running.
Yeah, and I think the vision too, I mean, if you have a computer and you have a little LCD display, I mean, your clock usually is just a set of numerals in an LED format, but this would give you the ability to see a lot more. So if, for instance, when you wake up in the morning, this face could tell you what the weather is going to be like. It could connect to a weather API and say, hey, by the way, it's going to be sunny, 83 is a high. So it's right when you get up, you just look over and you see what the weather's going to be like. You don't even need to worry about it. Or it could be something that would display playlists for music. For instance, if you were playing music through it and you were streaming that music or something like that from an internet source. So ideally, it would be something that you could configure a lot more. We were just trying to get the basic functionality with the clock face and then show that.
Good job.
Excellent.
So we have two left, but they are on tour. So the first one is just outside in the front, if everything is still there. There's Ben out there. No?
No, we left it.
Did you?
Someone wants to feel that.